Am I the bad guy for not wanting to constantly play with my younger brother? I'm a 16-year-old guy, and lately, I've been feeling the weight of being a big brother. My younger brother is 11, soon to be 12, and he has some challenges that make him need a lot of attention. He's got undiagnosed ADHD and recently stopped having seizures, which means he's been extra reliant on me for playtime. My parents constantly remind me that I should be there for him, and I get it. He cries when I don't play with him. But here's the thing. I also have a job, church responsibilities, and honestly, I barely have time for myself. It's tough because he only wants to play his way, on his terms, and it can be exhausting. To him, spending time together means I have to give him my full attention, and I feel like I'm failing as a brother when I can't meet those expectations. I want to be there for him, but I also need to carve out some time for myself. I'm just trying to figure out how to balance it all without feeling guilty. Am I the bad guy for not wanting my family to treat me as an emotional crutch for my sister? When my sister lost her husband earlier this year, I immediately flew down to support her. I stayed for 2 months doing everything I could to help her through this incredibly tough time. I love her dearly, so being there for her felt like the right thing to do. Recently, she asked me to come back and take care of her dog while she went away for a few days. What was supposed to be a 4-day visit has turned into over a month, and I'm starting to feel emotionally drained and honestly a bit taken for granted. My sister has been struggling with her emotions, and it seems like I'm the one she leans on the most. She gets triggered easily, not just by me, but also by our mother, who lives separately. It's especially tough when it comes to my husband. He's a kind and respectful person, yet she seems to take issue with almost everything he does. For instance, she has a dining table covered with a plastic sheet, and when my husband jokingly suggested that it might be easier to clean a stain from the plastic than from a cloth placemat, she exploded. She was furious, claiming he was questioning her authority. When I tried to explain that he meant no harm, she turned it around on me, saying that I take her for granted. It's frustrating because while I'm trying to manage my own life and work, she often throws tantrums if she feels ignored. Just the other day, she accused me of treating her like an afterthought, which hurt. My husband, who is always supportive, quietly admitted that he feels like I take him for granted when she's around. The difference is, he would never raise his voice at me, but she has. I've suggested therapy to her several times, but she refuses to consider it. It feels like I've become her emotional crutch, expected to absorb all her feelings while putting my own life on hold. My family seems to think I should continue staying with her, away from my husband. I'm starting to wonder if I'm being selfish for wanting to prioritize my own well-being. Am I the bad guy for feeling this way?
Am I the bad guy for reminding my mom that my son is a child? I found myself in a tough spot recently when my son fell ill. As a single mom to 2 kids, ages 12 and 8, I often rely on my family for support. My husband passed away in an accident last year, leaving me to navigate life and finances on my own. With my youngest having severe ADHD and autism, things can get particularly challenging. Money has been tight since my husband didn't have life insurance. And while I do receive some state assistance, it's not nearly enough. On this particular day, my mom offered to babysit while I went to work, which I appreciated. However, I had to let her know that I didn't have much food to spare at home. I explained that I hadn't been able to go grocery shopping yet and asked her to bring her own food or be prepared to buy something for herself. The closest grocery store is a 30-minute drive away, and I hadn't been able to make it there recently due to being sick. Things took a turn when my mom suggested taking my son to her house instead. While I was okay with that, my son absolutely despises going there. When she arrived to pick him up, he had a meltdown, refusing to go. I asked my mom if she could just stay with us for a little while longer until I could find a way to get more food. Unfortunately, she insisted he had to come with her, which only escalated his distress. My mom has never been the most patient person, and I could tell she was getting frustrated. She started yelling at both of us, expressing how she had canceled her plans just to help me out. In a moment of exasperation, she said something that really struck me. "I wish we could trade lives and I could lay around and throw tantrums all day while you go to work and have everyone use you and take your money." I know she's under a lot of stress, especially since she lives with my sister and grandma, who don't work. I've often felt like a burden to her, and her comments about my situation only add to that feeling. Despite the tension, I didn't yell back. Instead, I simply covered my son's ears and said, "Mom, he is 8. That seemed to set her off even more. She screamed, "Forget you then. Miss work and lose money. I don't care," and stormed out. Now, she's saying she won't babysit for me again, which puts me in a difficult position. I rely on her and my sister for help, and without them, I'd have to miss work or find a sitter I can trust, which isn't easy. I've been wondering if I should have cut her some slack, considering the pressure she's under. I understand she's frustrated and needs to vent, but I don't want to be her verbal punching bag, especially when it affects my kids. So, I'm left questioning whether I was in the wrong for standing up for my son.
Am I the bad guy because I won't tell my wife what my son, her stepson, has in savings from my late wife? I'm in my 40s and have a blended family. My son, who is 16, is from my late wife, while my current wife has a 13-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son from her previous marriage. Together, we also have 2 little ones, aged 4 and 2. Before my late wife passed away, she expressed a wish for a portion of the compensation she received due to a medical misdiagnosis to go into our son's savings. She even had a second savings account she wanted to add to it. This was in addition to what we had already saved for him before her illness. I made a promise to her to honor her wishes and to protect that money solely for our son, ensuring it would never be used for anyone else. When my current wife and I began dating seriously, we discussed our financial plans for the kids. She was aware that I had been saving for my son, but we didn't get into specifics about how much we had saved for our respective children. We agreed to set aside a certain amount each month for all 3 of her kids, and we revisited this plan when we had our 2 younger children. Recently, my wife has been feeling overwhelmed. Her ex-husband has been uncooperative regarding the savings for her children, and she feels like we haven't been able to save enough each month due to various unexpected expenses. A few weeks ago, she suggested that we should lay everything out on the table and discuss what each of the 5 kids has in terms of savings to ensure their futures are secure. I agreed to share what I had saved for my oldest son, but I made it clear that I wouldn't disclose the money left by his mother. She pushed back, arguing that all the money should be considered in our discussions. I explained that we don't know what other savings might exist. Her ex could have money set aside for their kids, and our parents might also be saving for them. I believed it was only fair to focus on what we could save together. My wife accused me of not trusting her, and I asked why she was so insistent on knowing about the savings from my late wife. I felt that by only discussing what we had saved together, we would be on even footing. She argued that knowing everything would help us focus on the kids who might have less in the future, especially our younger 2. She even suggested combining all the savings and dividing it among the kids. I stood firm, saying that what my son has from his mother is not something to be shared or used for the other kids. We ended up arguing about it, but I maintained my position. She feels I'm keeping her in the dark and not trusting her with something important, which she believes affects our ability to make decisions as a couple. Now, I'm left wondering if I'm in the wrong for wanting to keep my promise to my late wife and protect my son's savings. Am I the bad guy for not sharing this information with my wife?